We have reached the part of the podcast. We're going to be talking some horse racing. We have a first timer coming on. Trey, he is known on X at Tserver24. Trey, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You know what? I bet on the Saints, so I'm not doing well at all, man. Like I am not doing. Like I am dumbfounded at what's going on right now. But I've already bitched about that in my Thursday night review earlier on the podcast. So we're talking some horse racing. You have a podcast that comes out every day. Keeneland is racing, called the First Wire Podcast. Why don't you tell everyone about that?
Yeah. So basically, I live in Lexington, Kentucky. I've been a major horse fan. Been involved in the industry my entire life, basically since I was 5 years old. I can remember going to the track. I love talking horses, love betting the horses, obviously. And I've seen other people do it. I've seen Gino on your show do it. And to be honest, seeing you guys do it, I was like, that's what I want to do. So I wanted to share kind of my enthusiasm with everyone, give them a little bit of a way to go about betting horses and kind of give my insight. And the First Wire, for those who may not know, is based off of the First Wire at Keeneland. The track is only 1.16 miles in configuration. And so if you ever listen to the race call, he'll say in the wire or in the gate, First Wire.
Okay.
And I always thought that was funny because I was like, why does he say that? And then I kind of figured it out, and it's kind of started as a parody. And I decided to make it the name of our podcast and trying to grow it as much as we can, being a small operation that we are.
Podcasting is fun. That's how I started this whole thing. Now I'm doing way too much stuff. Seems like I'm doing everything. So I'm glad you got involved. I've known you for a couple years now. Consider you a friend. Happily to get you on here. I do have a funny Keeneland story. I was down there for a bachelor party. Jesus Christ. 10, maybe 9 years ago. And the thing with me, Trey, when I get drunk, I disappear from the group. Like,
okay.
I disappear from the group. I go wandering. I legitimately ended up in the winner's circle. I was drunk off my ass. I started wandering around. Like, I have the picture somewhere here where I ended up in the winner's circle. There's just me. I was dressed up, like I said, there for a bachelor party, and drunkenly I ended up in the winner's circle. No idea how. I don't remember, but I ended up in the winner's circle. My drunk ass.
Did you get the winner's picture?
I did. I have no idea. I was like high-fiving people. I was hugging people. That's the thing with me, dude. Like, I haven't told you my Redman story. Like, I hung out with Redman once. Like, I'm just that dude who just runs into all these people. And I don't know, man. People like me. That's why they tune in to listen to my stuff. I don't know how but people like me. We're not here to talk about that. We are here to hear what you are betting. You've been giving out a lot of winners on your podcast. You are going to be giving out a pick 4 starting in race 7. Why don't you tell everyone what the pick 4 is that you're going to be betting, and a couple words why you like the horses in each leg?
Yeah. So race 7, as you said, starts the late pick 4. On Saturday, there are 2 stakes races in that sequence that I'm interested in. The first being the Perryville, which is a 2-year-old race for the boys. And there's also a 2-year-old race called the Raven Run for the girls. They're each going 7 furlongs, which 6 furlongs is about 3/4 of a mile. So it's just a little farther than that. They start in the back stretch of Keeneland and then make a 1 turn to the finish. So that race typically will favor horses that are close to the pace, at least at Keeneland, it seems. So there's in the race 7, there's a horse that actually ran in the Kentucky Derby this year, Epic Ride. He's trained by John Ennis, who's a good family friend of mine and was a trainer of ours for a few years. So that horse, for me, I would hope that it may or may not win. It's 20-1 on the morning line. I think it's going to go off a lot less than that. I think he has a big shot. He's going to have a lot of speed coming from the outside. 12 hole from Keeneland is not typically the place where you want to be, but I'm going to give that horse a big shot. If you had to pick a horse that is like the class of the class, it's the Kansas City Chiefs of football, basically. Would be Bookham Dano, number 5. That horse has won a lot of Grade 1 races. Irad Ortiz is going to ride. He's one of the best jockeys in the colony. So he's going to be one of the main favorites. So those are the two horses that I would focus on. But in this particular bet, I'm going to tell you some other horses that I think have a chance. And number 1, Henro. Number 3, Knightsbridge. Number 5, as I said, Bookham Dano. Number 7, Patriot Spirit. Number 10, Locked, who ran in the Breeders' Cup last year against Fierceness. For those that know horses, Fierceness was the Kentucky Derby favorite that didn't obviously win. And then I'm going to use number 12, Epic Ride.
Okay.
So in that first race, I'm spreading to try to catch a price.
It seems to me, I don't bet horses that much, but it seems to me every time I do, and I have a single, it's to one of the Ortiz boys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always like an even money favorite, and they never hit the board. So I'm anti-Ortiz till I die, man. I just don't like those two. But it's funny because we always remember our losers, not our winners. So you're spreading the leg 1.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Leg 2, race 8. What are we looking at, my friend?
Well, I'm going to go too deep, and I actually could single a horse in the podcast that we recorded tonight. I singled number 3, Irish Aces. Tyler Gaffalione is one of the best riders at Keeneland. He rides for Brendan Walsh. That horse probably is going to go off in the range of 3, 4, 5 to 1. So he's not going to be a favorite, I don't believe. Number 12, Taking Candy, is probably going to be the favorite. But like I said earlier, on the outside, those posts usually have a tough time of winning. So I'm going to take the 3 and the 12.
Why is it that they have a tough time winning?
Well, because they have the longest way to go around, basically. Unless they can get out and get to the rail, it'd be kind of like a sprinter. One's running on the inside, the other's running more steps on the outside. At Keeneland, the 12 post, historically, if you look at the numbers, has only won like 5 races out of the last 3 or 4 meets. So I've had one 12 horse that I can remember this meet that's won. Everybody else has failed. So I'm going to play the statistics there, and
yeah,
like I said, I'm going to use. But if you wanted to cut it down, I would single the 3.
Okay. Leg 3, the 9, the race 9. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking at, my friend?
The 5 horse is Emery, who's the favorite, an deserving favorite. Brad Cox trains that horse. Brad Cox has been a prominent figure in racing here lately. Won the trainer's title last year, is doing really well this year again. It's going to be a big favorite. I know that there's some other horses in the race that I've heard rumors of doing well. So in this particular race, I'm just trying to catch some money if Emery doesn't win, because it'll pay a lot better. Mine Main Squeeze is a horse for Mike Maker, who usually does pretty well, but he's been ice cold lately, but I'm still going to use him. Number 6, Vivi's Dream, is a Kenny McPeak horse. Kenny McPeak is a local Lexington legend. He won the Derby and the Oaks this year. So a lot of people are going to know his name, and people that are probably betting from off Keeneland site are going to play him just because of the name.
Yeah.
CC Broadus is my partner on the first wire. He likes the 10 Hauling Ice as a long shot. If that horse were to win and upset the apple cart, it's going to pay pretty good. So I'm going to include that horse as well, just in case we might be able to get lucky.
Now, backing up a little bit to what you said. You said the barn is cold, but you're still going to use him.
Correct.
If a barn is cold, but what your reading says to play the horse, will you still play the horse? You know what I mean? Like, I look at, for an example, like in a football bet, the Bills give up the most passing yards to running backs, but Pollard hasn't gone over his total in 2 straight. Like,
sure,
that would block me off of it. But if I'm understanding you, that wouldn't be the case. You'd still play what the numbers say.
Typically, I will in this case, because I'm trying to play a pick 4 and catch a bit of a price. The horse fits on numbers based on previous races.
Okay.
So I'm hoping, like I said, it hasn't happened yet, but maybe they get lucky. Maybe he throws a screen pass that goes 80 yards, hits that prop, and so you're happy. Like I said, that the 5 horse is going to be a big favorite. I'm just trying to throw some other horses in there to maybe spruce it up if we were to get lucky enough to do it.
Now, in the last leg, my friend, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so number 3, Running Away, is a second-time starter. Just lost at Saratoga, which is up in New York. It's going to be a heavy favorite. Another horse you might be able to single if you felt like it. If he gets out on the lead, they may not catch him. I'm going to also use number 8, which is trained by a trainer named Graham Motion. Second-time starter. Might improve. I'm just going to use those 2. Like I said, the 3 horse is going to be very tough, but if you can beat him with the 8, who's 12 to 1 on the morning line, I'm always playing tickets to try to cash a big payday, as they say. So I'm going to use those 2.
As me and Wade say when we do our UFC stuff, shoot or shoot. You got to go out big. You got to go
exactly right. Yes, I want to have a chance.
Now, with that being said, best bet looking at the card is what? The
best bet for me, like I said, I could single Irish Aces number 3 in that 8th race. For the sequence that we talked about, I'm going to say that's my best bet. Okay. And then your favorite long shot? I'm going to go with Epic Ride, the 20 to 1 long shot. I don't think he'll be 20 to 1, but based on the connections, his speed from the outside, I'm going to give that horse the best chance of I wouldn't say maybe winning at a long shot price, but he'll hit the board. Now, I'm going to word this. Is there a number that Epic Ride would get to where you wouldn't play him? If he went off, say 3 or 4 to 1 off a 20 to 1 morning line, yeah, that wouldn't be good enough for me, because you bet $2, you'd win 6. You bet 2 on 20, you'd win 40. So cutting it by almost 80%, I would say I don't think it's going to happen that way, but that would be a play against me for sure. Now, let's say he's like 12 to 1, 14 to 1. Would you just play the win, or would you play him across the board? I'm more of a win person personally, but I would not talk you off of it if you wanted to play it across the board, because it might pay $6 to $8 to show. So if you did a $10 bet, you get 60, 80 on a $30 bet. You're still going to win double your money there. So by all means, don't let me talk you off of that. Trey, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to come on the podcast for the first time. Hopefully we can have you back in future weeks and you can give out some plays. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find your podcast? For those listening to my podcast, I will have the link in the description. For those watching on YouTube, it is in the description below. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find it? I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. So CC always sends me the link, and I post it on my Twitter X account at tserver24. That'd be the easiest place to find it. We can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you basically find a podcast. I know that the Auxiliary Gate is his main line. So if you want to check him out at the Auxiliary Gate podcast, he does more of a interview owner trainer kind of thing. Doesn't necessarily talk about the races, but he builds the racing world. And that's how I got started. So yeah, at tserver24 would be the easiest way. Make sure to check that out. Make sure to give him a follow, and we'll talk soon, my friend. Hey, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.